piece as a gauge. I push the saw down until it projects down to the level of the surface that the block is on and lock it. That tells me that my blade is projecting exactly the thickness of that piece. Next, I would take the piece and scribe it. About 9 times out of 10, scribing is better than measuring and squaring. Then I would cut a series of notches. I'm going to do half of it right now. I'll show you why. I knock the notches out. You can see that pin knot sticking up. That complicates it.
Okay, go ahead.
Now obviously this is rough work, but framing houses is rough work. It has to be done square, plumb, and true, with appropriate fit up and fastening to make it structurally sound. Most of the time, good, fast, professional work is beautiful and people can afford it. So let's talk a little more about plunge cutting. It's dangerous because you are bringing the spinning blade into contact with a stationary object without any real, without it being securely braced, except by your wrist in the front of the saw. But if you have to plunge, typically you elevate the guard, although you don't have to, get a good hold. Now that doesn't look like much, but it can hurt you. Now if you can do it without lifting the guard with your other hand, by moving the saw forward to push the guard back. Let me demonstrate a little more of the Polish plane method that we showed earlier. Now that's ugly, but there are a lot of applications.
Yep.
Now if you don't have a sky hook and you're up in the air and you're in a bind. You got to let yourself down, you got to pick something up, you got the saw in your hand, you don't know what to do. You've got a couple other alternatives. One, you can just plunge the saw and it'll hang there. That did not degrade that board because I merely subtracted 1/8 of an inch of thickness parallel to the grain. Didn't hurt a thing. Any more than that little bit of wane reduces the strength of that board. A plunge cut doesn't hurt it, and you can leave your saw up in the air, perfectly safe. Now note, there are some owners that will not appreciate this when you try to explain it to them, but it doesn't hurt a thing. There's another way to hang this from a rafter if you can't plunge cut, and you don't have a sky hook, and it's like that.
Cool.
You can use the same technique for lowering the saw from a great distance to someone on the ground or just to the ground. You probably already know that it's not good for the saw to carry it around like this. You're putting a strain on the electrical connections inside. But it doesn't hurt the saw at all to carry it around like that. You can raise and lower that. You can hook it clear around the table if you want. You can swing it. You can do whatever you want. Now, the two things that I do immediately. First, I put a 40-foot cord on this saw. 60 was better when I was stacking a lot of roofs. 40 is about enough. And I use a chain stitch to store it. Now, you may be familiar with that. The way I look at it, if you intentionally tangle your saw cord when you put it away, it's not going to accidentally get tangled in the box. But it comes apart like this. And it's ready to roll. On top of that, it doesn't get the repetitive twisting that happens when you wind a cord around your arm or make a coil carelessly. This takes some set but it's not really twisted. So here is how I put the chain stitch on the cord on this Skil Saw. The chain stitch is really just single stitch crochet. Don't let that bother your manhood on the job site. The other guys don't need to know it. I take the bitter end, I stick it through the handle, I take the first bite of both lines that I come to, stick it through the top handle, and then take bites with my right hand, stick it through the loop that's formed and held open with my left hand, single stitch crochet, down to the end, stick it through, voila, pre-tangled. Cord out of the truck. Now the other thing that I do immediately